Preparing live stream. All right, so we are now officially being live streamed here on the Red or Green Books Facebook page. I'm so super excited. Welcome to the October 2023 Author Talk for Book Club. We are celebrating Fresh Linen and his incredible book, Before the Streetlights Come On, which I had the honor of publishing for this incredible human being. He also has a sensational poem in American Graveyard Calls to End Gun Violence titled Baby Bullet. And so I'm sure he'll be talking about that today. So some quick housekeeping things as we get going today. This is not an open mic. It is not a cheer after every poem type of event. It is a cheer after the performance to go crazy type of event. So book club, author talk, you do not need to have purchased the book to be here or to be participating in today's event. However, if you don't have this book in your library, you are missing out. The book this month is available for only $10. There is a $5 coupon. I have all these awesome like bookmarks and stuff he put in my copy. This is my copy, y'all. Like it's signed by him. Anyways, if you would like a copy of Before the Streetlights Come On by Fresh Linen, go to the Red or Green Books the Red or Green Books website, redorgreenbooks.com. Type in the coupon code FRESH. Fresh will get you $5 off of his book. All of the sales this month for book club will go to Fresh Linen directly, and we can get you a copy of his book. You really need to have this book in your collection. Fresh Linen is one of the original poets we launched here at Red or Green Books. And so during the entire month of October, you can get his book for only $10. It's an incredible bargain. In fact, buy two. Buy two, one for yourself and one to give away. That is like my motto with books: buy two and give one away. Someone is going to need to see this. What does Shaki say? Wait, so my Chromebook likes to, the chat goes really fast. So let me pop out my chat so I don't miss anything here. Is that an iFlow hoodie? Shaki is wondering. Oh, Shaki, you're funny. It is, it says Fresh. Okay. Yes, Authors Unite, because next month is actually going to be Shaki G. She'll be doing author talk next month for book club, so you can get her incredible book In Lieu of Flowers in the month of November. So adding these books to your collection, if you are wanting to collect them, coming during book club and getting one new book a month is a great way to support the poet, add to your library, and continue to feed yourself and feed your brain poetry. All right. So some quick announcements. November 11th is our book signing for the 2023 debut authors, including Shaki G, who's in the room. And so it's really a fortuitous month for her. So we have a book, we have author talk, we have with Shaki G's book, we have the book signing for the 2023 debut authors this November 11th. November 18th is Poet Palooza. That is our annual show here at Red or Green Books, where we invite back the active authors to come and participate in one epic reading. Historically, these have been hour-long shows. So we have the 2021, 2022, and now the 2023 authors. Each year is just kind of growing. Our family's just continuing to grow and get bigger and have more incredible human beings from all over the world included in these books. So don't miss out on that. December 9th is our third reading for American Graveyard Calls to End Gun Violence. If you're a contributor, keep an eye out for the email with the sign-up list that will be coming in. If you missed the last reading, then you want to make sure that you are signed up to read here in December. And then the December 16th is our feature of the features here at The Word is Right. We invite back all of the features for the year to read in one epic show. I believe it's already 3 hours long, the sign-up list. All of our features are coming back and showing out at the end of the year for our annual show at The Word is Right. All right, so that is it for announcements. Let's get to our featured author today, Fresh Linen. It's been an honor to work with you, and I'm so excited for all the things that are happening in your life and that I got to meet you and have a small role in the greatness that has become of this book right here before the streetlights come on. So why don't you kind of give us a little background about yourself, what you're up to, what is the book about, how did it come about, how was it publishing, what is Fresh Linen all about, what's happening in your world, and then we'll jump into Fresh's feature, and then we'll kind of come back and we'll do a little Q&A and talk about the next things that are happening in this author's life.
Okay, cool. Can you hear me well? All right, awesome. So first, I am honored to be here. And like I said before, it's cool because I remember doing this. I remember compiling and organizing all the poems to do this. And I remember all the work that went into making this. And I see the book every day. It's everywhere. It's in my apartment here in Germany. It's my apartment in Portugal. And it's just crazy that, you have that title as author. So it's awesome. I'm happy.
We should say that you are active duty military and you're stationed overseas, right? We should,
true.
because for some people who don't know you, right? You are
they think
active
I'm just
duty
flexing,
military.
right? Yeah.
And thank you for your service, and thank you to your wife and daughter as well for their support in your service as well. Anyways, I just had to do that.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm in the Air Force, and I'm stationed overseas, and back and forth between Germany and Portugal. And the way this opportunity came along is because I was performing virtually with The Word Is Right. And during that performance, I was able to talk with Marissa, and she was like, hey, like if you ready, like here's an opportunity. And it's been on my to-do list like for a long time to write a poetry book. And I was like, I'm not sure. And yeah, long story short, I made the right decision by sitting down and actually turning a dream into something tangible. And it's really cool to hold this here dream. Before the Streetlights Come On is full of nostalgic chapters of poetry. And the reason why I did that is because as a kid growing up, my parents would always say, you could play outside from this corner to this corner, or like from this neighbor's house to that neighbor's house. And you could, stay with your friends and do whatever. But when we got to know the adult, and you need to be home before the streetlights come on. And through me traveling around, so I've lived in Italy, Korea, Germany, and now Portugal. And it seems like that's a common thing. Even my wife, who was born and raised in Germany, like she had to be home before the streetlights come on too, which is, I think is really interesting. So I was like, all right, cool. That is something that's very like nostalgic for me, and it means a lot to me. But also, I think other people be able to relate. So that's why I named the chapters in the book off of nostalgic things. Like the first chapter being about identity. And for those who, I'm probably dating myself, but when you record your voice message, you could like have music in the background, and you would like record it like, hey, you can't come to the phone right now, leave a message every tone, but you got your favorite song playing in the background that you waited till the radio played. So that's why the first chapter is called Shh, I'm recording my voicemail, and things like that, that kind of play on with that reference my life. And what else? You gave me a lot to kind of talk about. I want to say being a spoken word artist, which I think is different than being a page poet. I want to say I really started exploring that in around 2016, but I've been writing poetry since 2006, and actually performing it, 2016. Actually being good, I would say probably late 2017, early 2018 is when I really found like, okay, this is my voice, this is how I write. And the first poem that I performed that I felt like, oh shoot, this is it. This is my talent. This is what I'm supposed to do. I put it in a book, and I'll read it today. It's called Obey. And it's interesting. My heart broke, and then that was kind of like the catalyst to Fresh Linen. Funny thing about my name, though, I actually got that from my roommate in college because I made a Twitter account, and then I put Geo Awesome Linen. And he was like, nah, bro, you should just call yourself Fresh Linen. Like jokingly and ironically, like I never thought about that. Like my last name is Lennon. I never thought, like, crazy. And just jokingly has always kind of went by that since then. here and there. And then when I performed on stage one time, it just stuck, and I just kept it. I've been calling myself Fresh London ever since. I'm right now trying to define what Fresh London poetry sounds like, since I'm also a recording artist. So some of the poems you'll hear tonight are also, or this morning, depending on where you're watching, are on music streaming platforms. So I do make music as well, and I put my poetry to music. And it's not necessarily rap all the time, and it's not also like traditional spoken word or poetry reading. So I'm kind of like, I feel like I'm pioneering a little bit, but my inspirations definitely come from J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, Childish Gambino, and Andre 3000. So kind of listen to them, and then you kind of understand where my flow is kind of like birthed from. But I don't know, what am I missing anything else, Marissa?
Dang, now I wish I would have played some Kendrick Lamar in the music leading up to this. No, so I love that. And I'm thinking one of the things that I'm starting to do at Red or Green Books is What Now workshops. And I've not done one yet this year because we've been just super slammed. But the What Now workshops are designed to continue. It's like continuing ed for the authors within Red or Green Books. So there's a lot of topics like, so you've published a book, what now? And the what now concept is, how do I build a website? How do I market my book? How do I sell my book? How do I bridge the gap from spoken word to page poetry, or vice versa? How do I like the next big thing I'm going to be doing is a workshop on shipping and handling. And you would think that that is a super like why would I need to know about this? But it's actually pretty complicated, and it can be an overhead cost that can actually hemorrhage your bottom line as an entrepreneur. Because we're not just spoken word artists and authors, we're also entrepreneurs in the sense that we're selling a product. We have a book, we have ourselves, we have our image and likeness, we have our performances. And so the economics behind that, you know, how are we going to not lose money at this? Our artist gig, right? Author gig. And when you were talking about defining what Fresh Linen sounds like, I was like, oh my God, this would be an amazing What Now workshop, because we want to be able to pour into our authors into concepts like this. So for example, AJ Houston, who's in American Graveyard, he just put out this massive 400-page book of poetry. And he took his book on the road this summer from Las Vegas, Nevada, through the Southwest, through the Gulf Coast, up the East Coast, and back again. He was on tour for like 3 months with his book. And I'm thinking, AJ, can you help us figure out what are the takeaways? What were the lessons learned for that? What did you get from that? What are the pitfalls to pour into the author community as a whole? And so I'm thinking, as you're talking about what does Fresh Linen sound like, that's an incredible opportunity to pour back into the other authors. You know, we talk a lot about publishing here as being, like you said, really a trailblazer. You're breaking the mold in so much of what you do. And I know poets are watching you. Shaki is another poet who is starting to break the mold and do things that are outside of her comfort zone, and really seeing that major success. And like, she doesn't even know yet. I flex her belief muscles for her, but she doesn't even know yet the blessings that are coming because of the work she's doing now. And so that's a huge takeaway for people watching the show and for authors. And if you want to do a workshop like that, I would love that, because you are bridging genres. You know, not only is Fresh doing recording stuff, but now he's getting into film and whatnot. And I'll let him talk about all of that when we start to wrap towards the end of the show, unless you want to talk about it now. But it's very exciting, right? I mean, like Fresh Linen said, you know, when I first said, hey, I have this opportunity, would you like to do it? Are you ready? Like, even if you're not ready, I would say 90% of the people who I talk to are not ready. Because what does ready look like? We're never ready. If we ever were ready, we would never do it. It's like having kids, right? If we were ready to have kids, we would never do it. We're never ready when that baby arrives, but you learn real quick how to get ready and how to be ready. And that's the same with a book, baby, right? Your book comes and you may not be ready, but it's here. And so now it's a totally different fresh linen because you're doing so much more things that you probably didn't think 3 years ago you would be doing. And so that is the journey for the author. So I'll, you didn't miss anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
So Devin says it's not just rap. It's not just words. It's art. Absolutely. It's self-expression. Yeah. It's education. It's communication. It's art for sure.
Yeah. And it's so frustrating because like the track that I just uploaded that is coming out November 3rd, Let Me Know When You Make It Home Part 2, it asks you what genre is this? And of course, like first, boom, spoken word. And then I'm like, all right, but what else could I call it? And then I see rap, I see hip hop, I see all these other genres. I was like, nah, it's not really that. I wouldn't even call it that. But for now, I guess these two boxes is what we'll put it in until I'm able to call it something else. But it is a little frustrating because yeah, that this we're still pioneering what recording spoken word artists sound like. And my goal is to get into film. So, and that's been helping by recording myself. And yeah, and that's been my goal. Like I when you watch a movie and you see maybe like an opening scene or you see transition scenes, it's typically music, which is great. I love it, right? I grew up watching that. But now that I'm a spoken word artist and I also dabble in music, I'm like, man, like I'll watch some of my favorite films and my wife will hear it the most. I'm like, dang, like imagine like a dope spoken word piece from like a woman, like when this person is getting ready, that like this, like everywhere you heard music and said like, all right, cool. Instead of that rap song or that rock song, imagine if there was a spoken word piece that kind of summed up what we're about to see in the scene or why the scene is so important. Or maybe like the subtle Easter eggs that the director actually and the writer actually put into the movie, but you weren't catching it. But all right, if you listen to the spoken word piece during the transition scene, you might pick up on the theme of the movie or something like that. Like I really want, that's what I want. I want that. I want to be more mainstream. I wanted to hear it on the radio more. I'm starting to see it on TV shows. I love it. So I've done, I wrote a spoken word piece for a short film that was submitted to a film festival. I think that's kind of opened the doors. And then I didn't do a spoken word piece, but I produced music for my sister's documentary on sex education. And that's been winning awards. So I'm really happy for her. And I'm really glad I got to be a part of that. And then for myself, Baby Bullet, the poem that's inside of the anthology about ending gun violence, that was turned into a short film. And Ashlyn is here too. She works at the library where we did the open mic, and I met the one of the illustrators for that short film. And yeah, I just wanted like a video to post on social media, you know, to spread the message because I'm thinking like this. And then Elena and Janelle were like, this is actually a great message. So let's send it to film festival. Like, film festivals, what? I just wanted a reel for Instagram. And yeah, so thinking big like that. And right now it's a semi-finalist for the Rhode Island Film Festival. And we got like 10 more film festivals we're waiting to hear from. And then once those are all done, I get to post it and share with you guys. But if you want to listen to it, again, it's on music streaming platforms. Just type in Baby Bullet, Fresh Linen, and you'll see it pop up. Another thing that's like I would say is advice for people too, and it's something I'm working on, is the what's next portion. I've been learning to smell my flowers because all creatives, we kind of get this like we're only as good as our last creation type of mindset, and imposter syndrome kind of partners up with that, and it can make you feel like you're not good enough, or maybe you never really were and it was a fluke. And I've definitely double dutched with those feelings a lot until like I kind of look back, I'm like, wait, I published a freaking book, you know, like how many people could say that they published a book? You know, I have a website. There's a lot of people who don't have a website. Like I did that, and I think a lot of those things you should step back and appreciate it. And I think it'll help your mental health a lot. Like looking back, I know they say we shouldn't be stuck in the past or be too nostalgic, but I do believe taking time to smell your flowers is really good. So I am thinking about what I'm doing next, but I'm also appreciating the path that got me to where I am today. That's just some advice that I wanted to share with people. That advice that I'm taking as well. For what's next, I've only said this out loud a couple times, but I like chapbooks. I like the almost like compilation of poetry. I really love anthologies because it's just different artists, and I love watching anthologies too. I think that's why I love the show Atlanta so much. But I want to do short stories, but in poetry, and I like cliffhangers. I want to get you so invested in the character that people are gonna be hitting me up like, "Yo, like, I need to know what happens to so and so." Like, what, you know? And that's only like one poem in the book, you know, but it's a short story. I want to do that. So my next poetry book it won't be a compilation of poems like this one is. It'll be short stories that I'll be writing, and yeah, it'll be poetry. And yeah, just something different.
I love that. Smell your flowers. It's so true. Sometimes we get caught up in how much we still have to do and we forget about how much we've already done.
Right.
And also, it's like, we live in a very instant gratification style world. I think now everything is very fast paced. Everyone's like, now, now, now. And sometimes, like, art takes time. And it does, books take time. Those are not things that can just happen overnight. But if it's something, I always encourage people, if it's something that you've always wanted to do, to at least look into it, because, we're the heartbeat of at least this organization is really legacy work. Yes, it's important to make money, and we don't want anyone to lose money ever. I mean, the goal is don't lose money, but the whole concept behind a book is it's educational and informative, and it is a tool that we can use to bring about change. But this is your story. This is your legacy. This is your work, something that no one can ever take away from you. And everyone's story is important, and everyone's story deserves to be told. And so, having Fresh be one of our very first authors really began to pave the way for other people to say, hey, I can do this too. So it's very important, what you did, and what we continue to do as a collection of authors. And Shocky's here. She's continuing to take the torch, and move it to. I'm excited. Like, what's going to happen next year, right?
Yeah, right.
It begins to get exciting, not scary, right? It's very true. All right. Well, let's do this. Let's hear a little bit from Fresh Linen. He's got a set up and ready to go for us today. If you have questions that you would like to ask Fresh at the end, you're welcome to type them in the chat. Please make sure the questions are appropriate. And he has full power to say, I'm not going to answer that. So he does not have to answer any of the questions that he doesn't want to, but he is welcome to answer the ones if he does want to. That's okay too. And then we'll come back because I have some questions for him as well. Nothing hard.
Okay.
Nothing hard at all, I promise. But with that, I will turn it over to you, Fresh, and I'm going to spotlight you as well.
All right, cool. All right, so I've highlighted a lot. I don't know if I'm gonna go through all of these, but these are poems that if someone was to ask me what's a poem that they should hear from before the streetlights come on, these will be one of the poems I would mention. My poem goes through a lot of emotions because it's about me growing up and becoming who I am today. So there's happiness, there's depression. There's actually a lot of depression that I actually had to, I was telling my friend Devin that I had to become, pretty much I had to heal from this before I can even send it to Marissa to be published. Because I would write it and I'm like, dang, I really feel this way, but I don't know if I want everybody to know I felt this way before, so. And then I go through happiness. I talk about social political issues. And then I ended it with my spoken word pieces. So and I'll kind of flow through it that way with you guys. But I'll introduce myself with my poem called the Who Am I Challenge. This is also on music streaming platforms if you want to hear me perform it there too. Who am I? I'm the brother that dodges coronavirus coughs the same way hopeless romantics avoid obvious obstacles, opposing their options to love themselves instead of responding to that "hey big head" text. Who am I? I am no smooth talker, but I fat thumb my way into Ella's DMs. Pinky promised her a perfect picture, pointed her to the middle of my intentions, then put a ring on it. You see, I am 5 fingers away from holding hands with my destiny. I am killing it every season, even when I'm off spring. Father of one, so I wear my dad hats like a crown, no cap. I'm fitted for this, so don't be surprised when I snap back. I am the topic of conversation. Different name, same theme. I am Black Boy, the luxurious and cursed. My melanin attracts smiles and clenched purse. I am Black man, the fetish and the fear. That bucket list item, something to watch and listen to, but try not to get near. I'm what you admire and pretend to be because television has shown you lights flashing in my face, but I'm a bad habit that you kick when lights flash behind you. I've never been good as a token. Hell, I know more Harry Potter trivia than I do NBA stats. I am fresh, but spades be my favorite suit. And I met love in the club, but diamond has a special place in my heart. You see, I am so books that I can sandbag my grandma and still keep the poem 100. Honey, bees, bow backwards, buzzing about my boo. I am husband to a goddess with a soul that resembles the cosmic properties of nebulas, shooting stars, full moons, and galaxies with hips that sway like bandwagon tides, a smile that makes you want to better yourself. I am crowned over Henny any day. I don't want no smoke, but I learned how to roll because black cards are as fragile as the skin on grandma's crispy fried chicken. I am my worst enemy. I am my biggest fan. And I believe in a creator, but I get my gospel from hip hop. I am poet, expressing every emotion in therapy sessions called art. I am artist, dressed in paint, raised in music, shaped by film, felt by vocals with stories told by scars and ink. My thoughts have no direct path from my brain to my mouth. I must feel them first before they can even pass my teeth. I am proof of my father's hard work and justification for my mother's hours of labor. I am saved, chosen, revived, broken, famed, glowing, still going. I am everything you doubted, yet everything I am supposed to be. I am challenged, accepted. I am fresh, Lennon, George, and you are welcome. And yeah, that is the Who Am I challenge. I wrote that because of a challenge that was going around during the quarantine days, and I saw a couple poets do that, and I got tagged in it. So I was like, oh yeah, gotta hop in that because I am really bad about talking about myself and bragging about myself. So it was a challenge to write that. The next piece I want to share with you guys is called Ecosystem. This was I'm pretty sure this was a 30 for 30 challenge that kind of opened up my mind to write a little bit differently. And I wound up really falling in love with this piece. So I hope y'all like this. Ecosystem. They say it takes a village. What about fresh air or food, a few wounds? Our environment is peaked and packed with more lessons than parental lectures. They say it takes a village. What about the block or public schools? Our teachers bent the curriculum so it could boomerang back to us one day. In the meantime, our parents taught us to catch. They taught us art and nature. We never really focused, always confused struggle for love. Hunger was just proof that we're not dead yet, and don't you dare dream out loud. We kept that for after school. Didn't they tell you dreaming in public is called lazy or crazy? Creativity was just escape in disguise from our parents and their pain. Attempts to divorce their problems, they pulled muscles from throwing dirt on each other's names, slammed. Doors open up, the eyes damn. Their seeds get watered with bitter teardrops. I wonder if the unhealthy relationship apple will fall far from tree, the wind that escaped their vocal cords change key like birds discussing the weather mid-flight. Fights are swept under the rug like a spare key to the destiny we have locked within our hearts' dreams. Hope has always pumped through our veins. Ice spikes thaw in our vessels. This vessel was born to soar, for we cannot blame the wind for not wanting to lift us up right now. So today we run. Spread our arms far enough for our fingertips to dip into the ocean. Rub the belly of a whale, convince sharks they are worthy, caress waves, the same way you've always wanted to be loved. Replace the floating comma with catastrophe, catapult, catacomb your way through the tangled roots of your past. Bungee, jump your fears and at your peak. Grab your birthright left with birthmark on your tongue. From this moment forward, you will only speak into your prosperity. Soar, because you've been conditioned to walk a path that was never really meant for your soul. Swim. Despite our polygamous relationship with CO2 and oxygen, I dare you to love. Even though it is a foreign language that has always been yelled at you, I double dare you to become what the world needs you to be. Life. Bloom from light bulbs. Right before we raise our hands to change out dimming suns with epiphanies, slowly wake up. Your eyes turn on the lights in your movie theater imagination, and your family looks at you in confusion with half-supported smirks simultaneously opposing the sound that their eyes make. We see right through their smiles. Transparent. Thanks for letting the environment grow us. And that's ecosystem. Okay. Okay, so moving on. So that was from the first chapter. This next chapter is Lovey Dovey. It's from my love chapter. And it's called 3 minutes after 9 p.m. Again, aging myself, so I don't know if y'all had these phone plans, but if you made any phone calls after 9, the minutes were free. But kind of like a catch-22, for me, I was supposed to be in bed by 9, so it didn't really always work out unless I was sneaking, trying to be on the phone with whoever my boo was at the time. But this, the title is a kind of a play on the phrase one night stand. It's called Second Night Stand. And you'll see why when you hear the poem. I never knew I needed you until I rolled over to find you missing. After a series of half asleep panic attacks, the sound of the toilet flushing took my tough guy act down with it. You're still here. You got me falling in love little by little, laugh by laugh. You let me know you used a towel and hoped I didn't mind. My eyes locked on the idea of your jewelry and phone on the other nightstand, opposite of mine. Days smirked. Looks like something I could get used to, seeing every morning. Gaze broken by your voice, asking if I had the number to the taxi. The sunlight always finds the right way to hit your smile, doesn't it? Frank Ocean plays on a Sunday as the car starts. My hand lies on your thigh, unaware of your fingers planning to invade the gaps between mine, as we drive farther away from being strangers every day. Yeah, Second Night Stand. This next one is another short one. It's called Don't Fret Unless It's Over Me. Yeah, it's another little love poem. Don't fret unless it's over me. Almost nude, she began to strum her guitar in nothing but her underwear and my shirt. Her safe place is wherever, and my happy place is whenever. I get to envy each fret as they feel her fingertips. The songs her heart conducted for my ears were the instrumentals to her confessions. I freestyled the lyrics to her past. She improvised to keep me here. What kept my ear was her guitar pick reading her diary entries. I noticed her octaves went up to complement her anxiety. Never knew a butterfly's wings could sound so acoustic. That's that one. And in the poem, the book transitions from lovey-dovey to kind of bitter and sad. It's breaking up. So it's called R&B, regrets and breakups. So this is all like anti-love single poems. And this poem right here that I'm about to read for you guys is the first poem that I performed as a spoken word piece. And my audience that I performed it for went nuts. And I was like, oh, I guess I'm kind of good at this. So yeah, this one is called Old Bay. It's like all those hexes casted by my bitter exes actually existed and finally caught up to me. If I ever fell in love again, I'd be shy, but wouldn't know what to do. You see, love is like holding on to someone else's newborn. Like, okay, that was cool. Now get it off of me. Love is like having a hole in your pocket. Because for the most part, you'll keep it all together, but it's coming, you'll lose sense. And I still pick up those pennies for your thoughts just to see if it was I that came across, but nah. I mean, you were describing me, but you weren't really talking about me. You know how many times I've been called Mr. Right, but not right now? And this is always coming from the real type of woman that wants something real from a man, but is faking a smile with the man she's with now. So how am I Mr. Right, but not right now? That's like you went to the doctor for your heartache and he prescribes exactly what you need, but instead you go for the lower degree. And speaking of degree, I may be genuine and only just a bachelor, but you rather associate with these fake kings that give you ponies when it's a stallion that you deserve. And to me, that hurts. I mean, who could I blame? I guess I broke my own heart. Trying to fall in love on purpose. I laced up my sneakers to chase your heart, but lost some of my soul on the surface. And I received so many curves from you, but now it's coming full circle. I just want to know who the woman you were before whoever he was hurt you. I even quit playing games with other girls because you were my player too. But turns out you can't push pause online. You were the love of my life, but you also had the title of player too. And now I bet you want me to change the subject. And okay, I'll change the lesson, but that won't lessen the pain of this petty blow. I mean, how could I ever expect us to have a history if we couldn't even get a hold of our chemistry? Oh, but we did have debates and made music with our anatomy. And actually, that's probably the only time you ever came to your senses. Now it's senseless. Because when things didn't add up and we couldn't see eye to eye, I still think, gee, I'ma try to figure out why I need to find the value of my ex. And I would be acute and try angles to shape messages in different ways, but you never get it. I'm not done. I still feel dumb. Because when it came to astrology, I thought our initials were written in the stars, all across the galaxy. And it was easy to commit to a girl like you because you were the only gal I see. And it is what it is, but it isn't really what I wanted to be. Like a pendulum. I spent every second going back and forth in my mirror, picking myself apart, until finally I learned to stitch back my own heart. I just can't believe I built you up for someone else to settle in. Oh, and don't think I'm still hurt because of these things that I say. I just sound a little salty because I'm all seasoned to the bullshit. And for that, you could blame my old bag. Yeah, and that piece was, first memorized piece as well that I performed. I love it. Continuing on with the anti-love poems, there was a great debate out here a couple years ago, and they gave us the topic of love. So I was anti-love, and my opponent was pro-love. So I wrote about love as if it was a mental condition, which was it was pretty fun. And as I go through the poem, maybe you can relate. We all love love until we realize that love loathes us. Love will make you stop loving other people, other things, and even stop loving yourself. Love makes you ugly cry. Love will have you going through the phone of your significant other just to find out that you are in fact the insignificant other. Love will have your soulmate at gunpoint. Love will have your soulmate and their spouse you knew nothing about at gunpoint. Love will cause homicide or suicide. Love will have you holding hands with darkness while inviting insecurities and anxiety over for a slumber party. Ironic, because love will bring insomnia into your relationship like the side chick in a love triangle threesome you've always never wanted. Love is a mental illness that we have romanticized with holidays, kisses, and smiles. We have glamorized the side effects and symptoms. Just imagine the people who fall in love as an antidepressant. Love. Love side effects may lead to self-harm, heartbreak, hair loss, mind, and friends. Love should not be taken seriously if under the influence of alcohol or right before bed. Love may also appear different if you're already pregnant. Love may also come as a drastic change in weight. Remember, what you let go of, love handles. If you're considering falling in love, please talk to your healthcare provider first. I might sound crazy, and I might sound like I don't know what love feels like, but I know that it sure does look like a straitjacket. Yeah, and that's the poem. It's called Straitjacket. And another reason I really love this poem is because the poem right before it, it is written. I read it from like the perspective of the Joker being like obsessed with somebody, and it just goes right into the poem. It was all intentional, so I really love that piece. Okay, and then going with your heart being broken, we're going into the depression chapter. And yeah, I want to read some of these pieces. Let's read 2 of them, and then we'll wrap up with 1 more piece after that. So I got 3 more for you guys. Talking to myself. If clocks were made with legs, could time stand still? They have hands, but don't spare any minutes. No matter how hard I try or open up my stride, I'm chasing my dreams on a treadmill. Goals too far to fill. I'm not who I'm supposed to be. I splurge on follow, delete buttons, sit here, pick myself apart, put together a figure that's more like someone else. Pep talks from a man to the boy in the mirror, turn into questionings of action and lecture. Feel angry, but look sad. Rinse my wounds with dark drinks. Music used to be my escape, but that takes too long when I could just drink. Gym used to be my vice when my head wasn't strong. Seeing progress takes too long. I feel at home in my corner, knowing my feelings are hyperbole of my problems in reality. Lectured by expectations, motivated to give in to the dude with the horns on my shoulder. Silence is golden, and I'm broken. What's the color of broken? I chase a cocktail of reality after a shot of trying. Tireless conversations with insomnia, like old friends that needed to catch up. My mediums are feeling foreign to me. My large shirts hurt to put on because they're comfortable. Only feel appreciated by mosquitoes. They at least clean up before using me. Misery loves company, so I mute notifications. Then I can make eye contact with self-hate, depression, disappointment, and regret. In a seance circle, they want to bring back the old me. I pour a glass, put it in the refrigerator, and drink out the bottle. The cup is for dinner later. My best friend is my shadow. He follows me during the day, but must be home when the lights ain't on. I've been dealing with these insecurities since the first time my eyes met a mirror. And yeah, fun fact, I guess not really fun, but yeah, until my wife moved in, girlfriend at the time, I got rid of the mirrors in my house. Like I really was down bad. The next piece is called Color Me. Color me empty. Sunshine don't fill my smile no more. My reasons for joy are stored away in my memories, alongside pictures of friends that feel like enemies. I can't tell if they are really for me, but my anxieties applaud my contemplation. Is death at the door, or is it just the landlord? I pedal this bike through the forest. Flowers have the courage to bloom. What are they so proud of anyway? My melancholy becomes written on every flower petal that flies aimlessly through my rain clouds. I communicate better with ants that don't have the time to judge me. My dogs listen to me complain because I sound like their mother. Color me full of misery on reverb, loathing on excerpt, mirror on distort. My mental illnesses are closer friends than the ones in my missed call log. Y'all don't get it, but at least this love letter to death might get his attention. I don't want to die. I just want to see if happiness is truly on the other side of my eyelids. Till then, I'll draw the smile and color me happy until I run out of crayons. I can tread water, but I fantasize about how long it would take for someone to notice me drown. Our parents were raised in hard times, and we saw 9/11 and lived the aftermath. There was no free counseling. No wonder we're all a little depressed. Don't mind me. I'll just shut up and color. Yeah, and that's Color Me. And that last line, if you know anybody in the military, that last line, shut up and color, like that's a military saying. Like, just do what you gotta do. Progressing through the book brings us to Black Currently. And I think I'll end it here. This is also on music streaming platforms. And I think it's a good transition talking about that military phrase. This poem came from one of my prior students asking me, what's it like being Black in today's military if when all the racial disparity and police brutality was going on in the States. And it's kind of hard because we work for the government. So we can't really openly, as artists, especially, it's really hard for us to talk about if we disagree. So yeah, and he gave me the safe space to kind of write this piece. And I want to share with you guys. I have a video for this that blew up on YouTube, and I'm pretty proud of that. I think it got like 16,000 views just within like a couple months. So check it out. It's called Black Currently instead of Black History. And yeah, thanks for listening. I was asked, what's it like being Black in today's military? The same way it felt back in the day. No, we no longer have the pressures of segregation, but it still gets heavy on our hearts to carry this flag on our shoulders. Our spirits are no longer broken like the tools Blacks were given, even though they were only fixing for us to fail and then expected to meet the same standard. It does get tiring, constantly proving to yourself that you're worthy and tough, then proving to others that you're more than enough. And no, we're no longer giving ultimatums to slave or serve, but now we serve in hopes that slaves will never again be a thing. So yeah, it's hard to explain to others why you willingly swore to defend a constitution that wasn't considering your melanin when it was originally written. It hurts. Serving a country that makes you feel safer overseas than you do at home or being deployed to the same countries that racists used to tell you to go back to. Believe it or not, sometimes it actually hurts to hear thank you for your service, because sometimes it comes from the same people that are likely to avoid eye contact or clench their purse when you're out of uniform. It's heavy, it's tiring, it's hard, and it hurts. But we never had the tendency to just complain and quit. So pick your head up and remember, our Black in the military runs from the birth of this nation to the Buffalo Soldiers, to the Tuskegee Airmen, and even to the Black men and women that serve with us today. Don't you know that you might be in uniform, but there's no camouflage in your essence? Don't you know that just by you getting out of bed, you become a civil rights leader's breathing message? Being Black in today's military means you get to add pages to Black history every day. Black history is more than a complex spectrum of our complexions. It's about when roadblocks were placed in our path and yet we consistently hurdle them. And we get asked to do the impossible all the time. And we just answer back saying, watch this. Black history is about standing tall so others may kneel. It's about the struggle and the highlights, the shortfalls and the help of, the rumbles of the good fights, the setbacks and the come up. It's about how different colors and different backgrounds can stand shoulder to shoulder and not a single person could ever doubt what the Black person can. This poem is not an invitation to a pity party. It's not to put down other ethnicities. No, this poem is for those whose skin color falls anywhere on the convoluted spectrum of cream to the color of solitude when you close your eyes to meditate. For those whose DNA screams human as loud as it can to deaf eyes, this poem is for those Black Americans who chose to wake up from the American dream to serve an American duty instead. For those who served their time lacing their boots, permanently hung up their uniform, or were laid to rest in it. This poem is about how Black history lasts longer than 28 or 29 days. And if this poem makes you uncomfortable, stop watching, stop listening, and look in the mirror and ask yourself, why? So what's it like being Black in today's military? The same way I felt back in the day. The difference is because of my brothers and sisters before me, and the ones standing with me today, now you're listening. Black history is written after every day is over. That means you have 24 hours. How will you add to it? Thank you. And this was from Before the Streetlights Come On. My wife made the book cover. It's actually me running underneath a streetlight, like I'm trying to get home. Clearly I'm late already, but thank you guys for listening, and thanks to Red or Green Books and Marissa for making me an author. Because yeah, it just would have been a goal on my list for a very long time if I didn't get that push from you and my friends and Cindy.
Amazing, y'all. Now you can unmute your mics if you want. Cheer on Fresh Linen and that incredible set. Oh my God, yes. Let's go. Woo.
Thank you.
I can't wait for you guys to like hear his recordings and to watch, everything he's got coming up. Is going to be so exciting. Like I said, this book it's got it all in it. I mean, it's just awesome. I love it. It is really a wonderful, wonderful book. And his poem, Inside Baby Bullet, I don't know if I told you this, Fresh, but I have 6 slots for a push cart this year. And I would love to consider Baby Bullet for one of those slots for American.
That'd be dope. That's awesome.
I know, right? So what I want you to do is send me your updated bio so that I can submit that when I submit my push cart stuff. Because, really we're starting as a press to try and push as many people into as many places as we can, and beginning to realize like who really is all about this, who is in the community, who is in it to win it, and really pushing the right people into the right places and putting the power of the press behind the right people and the momentum to continue to bring about the change that we that we're seeking, right? There's just a lot going on, so I would love to do that, and it's exciting. It's very exciting.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. I'm so proud of that book. I'm going to be doing a call for volume 2 in a little bit. I have to decide because next year, one of the goals for next year is to bridge into children's stories. So it's very exciting that you say that. children's literature has been, the outline has already been done for the last 2 years. So we're slowly but surely trying to work through into that. There's a lot that needs to come about in children's literature, a lot that needs to happen. And I think, we're only scratching the surface of what the literary world needs. And if it is to be, it is up to me. Like that's like the thing I always say to people. Either you could do it or you can't. Either way, you're right. Whatever you say, you could, is true. And you're walking proof of that. It's not a pipe dream. Sometimes our dreams get so big and so inflated, and then it only takes someone to come along and pop and just shh all of our dreams, right? And so telling someone that they're enough, that their work is enough, that their work is important, that they deserve to have their story told, sometimes it's a very difficult thing to do. But watching you, excuse me, and Shaki and so many other poets doing what you're doing. This year we published over 200 people. We published over 50 books of poetry. I never knew. We're in a dozen countries. We're in 7 or 8 different languages that we've had poets publish their work in. And last year, it's not lost on me. Last year, we published multiple poets who are Jewish and a poet from I'm losing it. Anyways,
from Palestine?
No. Eddie Aziz is from Lebanon. I don't know why Eddie. I just had like a brain fart on that. But Eddie Aziz is from Lebanon, right? And so you're talking about this as being a melting pot of places where people come together and speak their truth and their life and their stories, and it's a place where people can come and feel safe together as a family. And that's like the big picture, is all of us as human beings to kind of converge together. So it was a beautiful thing, and it's so sad. It's devastating for me as a publisher, but also a poet and an artist and a mom and a human, so having the press be part of the bridging and the glue is so important to continue to do. And so you're very much so a part of that infrastructure. So your book, I guess, like, what was the most challenging part about publishing your book?
I was writing this book during, of course, it was during the quarantine days. At the time I was an airman leadership school instructor, so I was teaching, but I was also teaching from home, and was going through some of the stuff you heard me read in the poem, in the book. I was going through some of those things as I was writing it, the organization, and I was actually preparing for my first my first and only TEDx speech at that time too. So that was a lot. Like I would, and I'm not very the most organized person. I don't think I'm a typical creative when it comes to certain things. I realize I need to label stuff, like, or I'll go nuts. Like I have to label stuff.
We fix it for that.
yeah. That's like one little thing that, like, I've always been like, it has to be labeled. Even like back in the MP3 days where you could just download a bunch of music and it could just be like track 12 and you have no idea what song. No, I have to name it. So that was that little bit of that ism, whatever that's called, that actually helped me with writing the book and being able to organize it. I got advice from some poets in a Write About Now workshop saying, like, hey, figure out what you want, like the direction you want your poem to go or your book to go, kind of like a track list when you listen to an album, and then you can break up your poems like that. And for those poets, they weren't talking about how I broke mine up into chapters, but by me doing that, it actually helped me organize it better. So I would spend maybe 2 days straight, like right after work, jump right into, and you were really good with like giving deadlines and feedback. And I talk about this in the Artist in Air episode that I had, that you gave me a lot of good feedback. So that helped because I would spend 2 days working on before Streetlights come on. Then I would spend like 2 days, and we had meetings in the TEDx community to work on our speeches and develop them better. And get your talk where it needs to be. And then I had work stuff to do. It was a lot. And I actually, Devin Freeze is in the call. This is around this time when I met her too. That's when this was being published. And yeah, it was, I'd say the hardest part was time management. And also, I got a lot of pride. So I know how to ask for help, but I want help, and then like, okay, but let me do it. Don't give me too much of the blueprint where this is your work and not really mine.
Right.
So I've learned, this process helped me learn to ask specific questions. Instead of like, hey, can you help me write my book? It was like, hey, what did you do to organize your book? I was like, oh, okay, you did this. And then, hey, how did you ship all your books out? Oh, I did this and this. Yeah, I don't like that. I'm not doing that. You know, so
Yeah. Yeah.
it definitely helped me grow as an adult, I'll say, because I was able to ask for help and be able to make decisions on my own, do my own research, and then help the rest of the team, because the OG 10, like we all were figuring it out. And that was fun too. Like we made a family. So that, yeah, the hardest part, to answer your question, was the organization and time management.
And that's part of like why I wanted to do the What Now workshops,
Yeah.
because even now, I mean, even, a couple years later, post apocalyptic book release,
Yeah.
Things are always changing. So for example, this year, the post office went up quite a bit for shipping. And so how do we now offset the cost for shipping? Because we don't want to continue to absorb those costs. We should be passing them on to the consumers. But also then when you start getting international orders, like Shaki's, getting international orders for her book, which is amazing. How do we fill out a customs form? What does that look like? Like, how do we do all of those things? How can we so that's one of the reasons why I say things like shipping is a really great example of how to begin to continually educate authors on things like that. I mean, going online and having your book online, people always say, well, why don't you just put your book on Amazon or whatever? And I'm not dogging that in any sort of form, but I'm just telling you, like, unless you really understand the economics behind that, you need to be set up to be able to do that, because for you to make any sort of revenue doing that, to make any sort of money, especially for the initial investment costs to go online, you have to sell a massive amount of books, like 500 or more. So if you're not yet set up for that, if you're kind of a fledgling author and you're just starting, really kind of building the good foundation and getting your feet wet, gaining that experience, and then being able to really push and launch. But the nice thing about this is that you don't have to do it by yourself. And I see so many authors doing that, and it's very difficult to try to tell people what I know, because they don't know it. And being coachable is really important in a process like this. If you're going to work with a publisher, you're going to work in a group of people, because we know what maybe you don't know yet. And all of the poets who have come before know more than the poets who are coming next year. So being able to pour back into the community and sharing the having us take all of the hits before, the next round of poets is our goal, right? Making it as seamless as possible, as smooth as possible, and as easy as possible for as many people as possible is kind of the goal. So what was like your most, like, what was the most exciting, most favorite thing about publishing your book? The thing you remember the most, like the happiest memory?
You hit me up saying I had an ISBN.
No!
Yeah, I went nuts. I was doing my
Yes.
little dance. I was like, oh, I don't even know what it stands for, but I know that means I'm officially.
Yes. Oh my
Yeah.
God. So for those who don't know, your ISBN is your International Standardized Book Number, right? That's your fingerprint for the book. This is Fresh Linens. That's his ISBN right there. That is the fingerprint for the book, the tracking number for everything that you would need for this book. It's a big darn deal. Yes, you
Yeah.
should have an ISBN. I mean, you should have some way to track your book and identify your book, and then of course you should have the copyright as well, and you should be the owner of the copyright. So for anyone who's wondering, do I own the rights to my work? Yes, you do. Unless you're explicitly selling the rights to someone else, you own the rights to your book. The copyright should be filed as you as the owner. If anything happens that does not happen, then there's a big problem. There's a big red flag there. So know who you are doing business with, and know what your rights are as an artist. So that's
can
so exciting.
I mention something?
Yeah.
I think Devin was around for what we had going on, and shout out to Ashlyn again. She's in the call. So we did poetry workshops during I believe it was the last April, or was it around this time last year? I can't even remember if it was 30 for 30 in April or 30 for 30 in November. But we did workshops, and there was a writers club that we did it with. And I don't even think I told Ashley about this, but the writers club, a lot of them, they're published authors, or they got books like this ready to go. Oh, thanks, Devin, for November. They got books ready to go. And then we piggyback off of their time to do the poetry workshop. And I guess there was a miscommunication, and they thought they were leading the workshop. And then I showed up, and they've never seen me before. And I don't know if they meant to come off like this, but yeah, they were just kind of like participating, but like, what is this, until and I'm not the type to flex, as you guys heard me say at the beginning. Like, I don't writing the Who Am I challenge was a challenge for me, but I would say after the first like round of what we were doing, and I started asking like, hey, so you guys, the writers club, and we got poets here too. Anybody got a book published? And they started like rattling off, like, I got like 3, I got like 2 in the chamber ready to go, like a couple of them were like, yeah, they're all on Amazon. I'm like, oh shoot, okay, cool. And then as soon as I said I have a book published, the demeanor changed. It was like, oh, okay. And I was like, and I was telling Devin about this, and Cindy, I was like, why did I have to, I had to flex the ISBN to be valid, to be credible. And I don't think they meant that on purpose, but they probably was like, yo, who's this dude? How are you teaching me how to write? I got 4 books out, but I think being teachable and being humble gets you so much farther. I always say like ego and power can trip, but humble never stumbles. And I could have definitely walked in there beating on my chest, right, and acting all types of crazy, and then they're like, well, actually we have 4 books published. So like, oh,
and there's a big difference between self-publishing and publishing with a house, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
so, and I'm not dogging necessarily either one, but when you have the full force and weight of a press behind the publication, and I'm not talking about a vanity press, I'm not talking about someone who just publishes anything, I'm talking about people who are actually involved in the community, who are picking and choosing who they want to publish and who they want to support. When you have the power of an organization behind you, it's incredible. Even to this day, I have friends who, I can't say necessarily friends, acquaintances who run open mics and venues live and online, and they will not feature you unless you have a book. Nice. And I remember that, and I was so mad. And part of my big push behind what we were building was to open doors for people who could not get in otherwise. And since for the last 3 years, they have featured, I would say 15 to 20 of my authors on their online platform, but only after they published a book. And so to me, it's completely, it's a ridiculous exclusivity at its finest. And when we're talking about building community and everyone's work is important, and not just that, but like their experiences. I mean, we're talking about changing so much of the structure of how society treats people today and feels about things today. As to why we're not including everyone, to me, is just crazy.
Yeah.
It's not part of what we're collectively trying to do as a community. But that being said, I knew that publishing them would open that door, and it would open lots of other doors for people. We're a female forward press, so we publish the majority of people who identify as women, but we also focus on groups that have been historically marginalized and stigmatized and who don't have opportunities to publish. So for me, the debut authors was the place to go. I want to focus on people who've never launched a book. You have 2, 3, 4, 10 books. That's great. That's like more power to you. That is amazing. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing at all, but we got all these people out here who are going to change the world, but they need that opportunity. They need that door open to them, right? And so if I can provide that, if we can continue pouring into some of these up and coming authors who've never done something, and we can rally as a team behind them to help push up and continue to pour into each other, and then we have all the other poets, they're publishing more books. Like I'm seeing more and more books coming through this press that are their second books, their third books, because it's important to continue to stay relevant and continue to tell the story. Like when we published your book, I mean, there's got to be so much freaking work that's been done since then. But whether people come back or not to publish through here, I always support their books and their journey. They don't have to be here to garner the support of the press. And it's so true. And I really like how you said that, I got flex my book a little. Go into a room and don't tell people, don't tell people what you're all about right away, and engage the room. That's going to tell you a lot about where you want to spend your time and your energy. And it's a good thing for those who may be doing this, who don't know they're doing it, to count others who maybe don't have a book yet.
Right. Yeah.
Because their work is, like I say, Shaki G is the next great American poet. I've said this since I met her, even before I offered her a publishing gig. I think she is incredibly, insanely gifted in her work. But like no one was publishing Shaki, and to me that was a tragedy. A tragedy for the world not to have that, right? And so it's the same for all of the debut authors. And your book is nothing to be missed, is nothing to snob about, right? You guys have to get a copy of his book, and you can do that. I mean, $10, like. Don't go to Starbucks twice. I mean, gee, what are we talking about, right? Go 2 gallons of gas. Well, 2.5 gallons of gas. Get yourself this book instead. I mean, it's a book you'll always have forever, and you can read it as many times as you want. So go to the website, type Fresh. Fresh is the coupon code, and it'll get you $5 off. And all of the book sales this month will go straight to Fresh Linen. And he's got a family. He's got to pay the bills and put food on the table, and he's working very hard protecting this country and serving us. And so thank you. And you can serve him by getting a copy of his book. Serve yourself too. Color him happy by getting him color yourself happy by getting a copy of his book. So what you got coming up, Fresh? Like, what's the next steps for you? Where can people find you, follow you? And I know you put a lot of stuff in the chat, but because we're also live streaming and this is going to go on YouTube later, how can people find you, follow you, all that good stuff?
Okay, cool. So you can go to freshlinencreates.com. That's where you'll find links to all my social media, and also my poetry videos, my poetry and music, all on freshlinencreates.com. And then if you go to any music streaming platform, you type in Fresh Linen, you might get a couple songs called Fresh Linen. You scroll a little bit because my discography is not that big yet. You'll see my picture, and you click on that, Fresh Linen, that's me. And my poetry and my music is there. November 3rd, I have a poem called Let Me Know When You Make It Home, Part 2, coming out. And it's broken up into 2 parts. So when the album comes out, Father's Day, 2024, Part 1 is pretty much like a drunk text that this guy is sending to his ex-boo thing. And he's going to party to party trying to find her. And it's inspired by... I can't remember the name from the Arctic Monkeys, but it's pretty much like Why You Always Call Me When You're High. And if you watch that music video, that's the inspiration for it. That mixed with Drunk Texting with by Chris Brown and Janaiko, that's that poem. Part 2 that I'm releasing is like pretending like it never happened. and he's sending a voice message like very confident, like, man, like we ended things and it's your fault. Like now you miss me. Like it's very pretentious, and it's definitely a part of myself that I used to be for a short period of my time. But I think that showing all different shades is important, and it's fun, and it's part of the story for what the album is my album is called Papa, Protector and Provider Always. And it'll be coming out for Father's Day next year. And it's part of that story that got me to where I am today. Um, like I said, defining Fresh Linen, defining who I am. And as you can see, I'm wearing this shirt, this merchandise. I created my own brand called Flow, Fresh Linens Artificial Eloquence, so FLAOE. And again, on Fresh Linen Creates, you can find it, or you can go to flow.myshopify.com and you can buy merchandise there. I have 4 different collections. This collection is from the You Matter Today and Forever, my mental health collection, and it has the hashtag 988, which is the new suicide hotline number in the United States. And again, mental health is important to me. I think art, on top of my relationships with my friends and family, art definitely saved me. And I believe, and including you too, Shaki G, and everybody else, if you are a performer and you are getting in front of people and you are not sponsored by Nike or any other brand, then you should be wearing your own merch or merch of people you care about. Because then, like, Nike's not paying me to advertise for them. Because if I buy something Nike and then I wear that and I do a killer performance, you're gonna remember me doing that killer performance with a big old Nike shirt on. And I'm advertising Nike and I paid for it, So why not make your own brand? I encourage everybody to do this, or support somebody that you care about or that cares about you. So everybody should have some type of merch, that bring merch with you or wear all the time. Let that be your brand. Let your art do the talking, is like what I say for Flow. Yeah, visit the website. I got stuff coming out every couple months. I make a new collection, and then I have singles dropping until the album comes out in next June. And yeah, y'all can rock with me. Just follow me type in GEO Fresh Linen on Facebook, Instagram. I think it's like Fresh Linen Creates on TikTok, but you just type in Fresh Linen, you're gonna find me. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
That's so exciting. I need to get one for sure. I remember for the summit, we just did the poetry summit here in New Mexico in September. And I was, I laser cut and ironed on like 12 different shirts, hand pressed all of them to have at the summit, just in case people wanted to buy shirts. I mean, it's an expensive event to put on, so all these little things we can do to try to help offset costs. But yeah, it's definitely like, get your logo, get your merch, do all that stuff. Shaki G, I see your hand is raised. Would you like to ask a question?
I would. I actually have a question about the merchandise, because I tried my hand at merch and it's still on my website, but it's a failure. Do you create all your own stuff? Like, I was, like Marissa was saying, like cutting and pressing and all that myself, and so the quality wasn't great. Or do you outsource to somebody?
I outsource because I'm not there yet. The goal is to eventually be able to, like, dreaming big, right? I can hire people to, like, that I know, and I have that press kit at home, and I'm like, hey, we got it measured out. We know exactly what to do, have stock and everything like that. That's going to happen one day. But for now, I'm outsourcing to professionals. So I use Shopify for my store and Printful for my supplier, and they do the drop shipping. So when you order it, I'll get the order at Shopify. I approve it. The approval goes sent to Printful, and that's where my designs were submitted. I created them using Adobe Express and Canva, and I have other tools that I use to make my designs. And I put them into Printful when I made the shirts and made all the other merch. So then when you order it from the store, it's print on demand. So that way it's not like I don't have a bunch of stock to sit in my house. Again, it's similar to, I think if you understand what Marissa was talking about, and this goes for everybody, about outsource by putting your stuff out on Barnes and Nobles and all these other places with the print on demand for your books, you're not going to make a lot of money from it, but you will be able to distribute. So if your main goal is to distribute, maybe you make like $5, cool. I say go this way. But if you're trying to make bread, then Shaki, you just gonna have to put more time into making sure that like to be better at which, because you said like it's not working out, then you just gotta put more time in, do it yourself if your goal is to make more bread. But if it's to get it out to as many people as possible, I would say drop shipping would be the best to start. And then when it's time, yeah, you got it.
I'm having this like really awesome idea as we're kind of all talking here. We should have like a merch coordinator at Red or Green Books. And I don't mind investing in something like a screen printing machine and having the authors who have merch like buy into a certain amount of shirts. Like when you're buying in bulk, and when we're saying bulk, we don't mean like 10 shirts. We're talking like hundreds or thousands, right? We're talking bulk items. But having a bunch of us coming together to purchase a batch of clothing, for example, and then everyone gets X amount of shirts, and then having that bring the cost down, then having someone who is at the press who is coordinating the actually creating of the merch, whether it's shirts or hats or mugs or whatever, having the ability to do something like that. And of course it'd be a paid, like a paid position. We're not saying we're doing this for free, but the idea being that collectively a bunch of us all putting merch out, and we can do it through the website. So the website, is already up. So that brings the cost of everything down, because now you're not having to build your own website if you don't have one, or run your own stuff that way. Because it's very true. So for those who don't understand, like what Fresh and I are talking about, if this book, if you could make $15 on this book, or you could make $10 on this book, would you rather make $10 or $1? If you're going to make $1, you have to sell 100 of these to make $100. If you sell 100 of these, you're making $1,500. Would you rather make $100 or $1,500? And if you're only making 100, then you just paid, the man in the sky $1,400 to sell your book for you. So that's what we're talking about, right? And so Fresh is a very good point he brings. If you just want this book to be out, then fine. But if you want to, you'd have to sell 1,500 books to make $1,500 versus 100 books. So if you can do that, if you can bust out 1,500 books, that is perfect. That is amazing, because we don't have the time, the resources, or the energy to ship 1,500 books. But that's not going to happen for debut authors. Not really. I mean, I have yet to see a poet who sells 1,500 books out the gate. So that could happen once you go viral, or once you get on Busboys and Poets, or once you do something like that, then you can, you'll sell, a couple hundred books in a night just going and featuring there. But for the regular person, we can't afford to pay the guy in the sky $1,400 to sell our book for us. And so we got to make that bread so that we can use that money to go do other things, start that website, get on Shopify, get your merch going, get your logo done. Like that money helps us, give us more options on what we can do as entrepreneurs with our brand. Right. And so that's the point, right? It's not saying don't go online, but just go online when it's the right time, when you're not having to sell 1,500 copies to make $100, like, or 1,500 bucks. So so that's the idea. And so if you've never crunched the numbers, I do encourage you to do so, and really look at the contracts that the online retailers are offering, and really understand how much you're giving away when you do that. Plus, also, most literary awards will not accept a book that's published online. So they want a press behind it. You have to have a publishing house or a publisher to nominate you. So there's a lot of those other things as well. Shaki, does that answer your question as far as like how he does it? He gave you a couple really great places to look into. And if you want to talk more about maybe doing some sort of merch thing for RGB with the authors, let me know. I was thinking it would be really cool to do like laser printing blank books, like blank journals, and laser print on quotes from the different authors, and because when you're in the grocery store, you have those impulse buys at the register, right? You have those things that you're buying for $1, $2, $3. So if you could buy like a blank notebook for like $2 or $3 when you're checking out, I would say most people would probably put something like that in their cart and check it out.
Yeah.
So those little add-on items are also really important to continue to generate revenue for the authors.
Mm-hmm.
And all that good stuff. But anyways, so that's the TED Talk on that, on marketing and merchandising. All right, so yeah, hopefully Shaki that helped you. I know the two of you are going to Mr. Witz does he does shirt stuff. I don't know, that is definitely something to talk to with him to see if he has the resources, the time, the availability, and desire to do anything like that. I mean, he's grinding his own. He rents a whole U-Haul every weekend and goes and loads it and goes and sells his shirts every weekend. You talk about a man who grinds, that guy grinds. Anyways, so all right, Fresh. Any last words, anything else you would like to end with? We all know where to find you, where to follow you, all that good stuff.
I'm really bad at advertising this, and for my performance yesterday, one of the other artists reminded me that I should remind everybody else. I was selected to be in the Air Force's first iteration of the show called Artists in Air, and everyone can watch it. There, I believe it's 28 of us, 28 or 29 artists that they selected across the Air and Space Force, active guard, reserve, who are artists who are like serious, like they're not art club for us, like we're serious. And I was the only spoken word artist that was selected for this time around. But you can watch it if you go to aflive.tv. So aflive.tv and check out all the artists. Of course, if you type in George Lennon, my episode will pop up. It's about 30 minutes. And I'll perform a couple pieces in that. I have 2 episodes that I'm featured in, but that episode that's titled George Lennon is all about me. Please go check it out. Show some love for the artists who are serving. And some of us rather be doing a lot more art stuff than serving, but we appreciate the support and the love that, you know, everyone gives us. And yeah, this stream poets, man, like it's a lot. I'm not the only poet that's out on music streaming platforms. Read books, like we put our heart and soul into books. And if you're thinking about recording yourself as an artist or publishing a book, I would say get a little obsessed with your art, but don't take yourself too serious. And I know it kind of sounds like it's going like in opposite directions, but I got really obsessed with my brand and my logo and like, all right, this is what I want it to look like. But I also didn't take myself too serious and I had fun with it. Same deal with my music, right? So poetry, you don't normally hear ad libs with poetry, right? You don't have a hype man in the background. You only hear that like with rap or singing or something. So I was like, who cares about rules? So I have ad libs in my poetry. You'll hear that if you stream it. And so for anybody interested in doing that, just do it. Life's too short to be upset all the time or to stick to too many rules. So let's go for it.
See if you can get stationed here because Netflix is here, and I'm gonna pitch it to Netflix to come and do a docu-series for the summit next year. And we also have some independent who are going to come and film the summit next year. So yes, I mean, that's what we need. We need a docu-series on spoken word, like straight up. It would be the most amazing thing. So there's so much film and movies and television here in Albuquerque. It's like a mini LA is what they're saying now. So yeah, if that ever happens, if you ever get, that would be amazing. So we'll see. Hopefully I can get Netflix. If I can get Netflix to come and film the docu-series, that would be dope.
Yeah, that would be nuts. That'd be nuts.
So we'll see. Right? We send it out to the universe and we see what sticks. Some of it sticks, some of it don't. That's all right. We'll take it. But thank you so much, George Lennon. Fresh Lennon is here today. Get his book before the Streetlights come on. You can get it for only $5 off. For only $10, red or greenbooks.com, red, READ. Go to the website. You can also find his bio. You can read the reviews on his book. You can get all the links to him. And if you send me, if you want to update your bio with me, Fresh, I'll put that on the website as well.
Yeah,
but otherwise, Geo Fresh Linen, GEO Fresh Linen everywhere online, and freshlinen.com,
Fresh Linen Creates.
freshlinen.com.
Yep.
So, all right, thank you so much, Fresh Linen, for coming out. I do.
Thanks for having me.
It's good to see you. I hope I see you for the for Pope Palooza. If you're not working, if you're coming, hanging out to come and read for the anniversary show. If not, that's okay too. Your beautiful wife, Ella Diem, is one of our cover artists. She's done a couple covers, and she's just a lovely person to work with. She also did. I don't have it with me. She did the art book. I should have grabbed it. Cindy, I'm sorry. She did the art book that accompanies the literary anthology. She did the cover for that as well. And so it's phenomenal. I mean, it's just kismet, the way everything fell into place, I think, with all of that. So I'm excited for the future and what happens to all of us. Power couple. Absolutely, Devin. Absolutely. No doubt about that. But otherwise, thank you all so much. This will be uploaded to YouTube for Red or Green Books. If you have not liked, shared, subscribed for YouTube, Red or Green Books and The Word is Right, please do so. There's so many videos, so many hours of poetry up on both of those pages that really, really need to be out in the world. That would help us out a lot if you could please like, share, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. All right, Fresh, I'll see you next time. And November, the 3rd Sunday of November will be right here, Shocky G, the poet. It'll be Sunday, November 19th, 1 p.m. Eastern, and she'll be back here with Book Club Author Talk. And then I'll see you all next time. Peace and blessings, everyone. Thanks, Fresh.
See ya.
All right, bye, everyone. Bye.